again, just
I know. Just go back to TV.
Just go back to the
go back to TV. Like, nothing you did was better.
Exactly.
Right?
The last 20 years were an interesting experience. Let's just dial it back, guys.
Collating all of the production studios into one service, that was better. Weekly releases, that was better. 23 episode seasons instead of and that's the thing, shrinkflation. When Joe Biden was ranting about shrinkflation, I was like, the potato chips, man. Talk about streaming services, because it used to be you had a season of television that was 23 episodes, and they made it work. You would pay whatever service you need to pay, whether it was cable, but you could watch it for free on broadcast, but it was 23 episodes. But then it pared down to 13 episodes when Netflix came out. In the House of Cards, then it pared down to 10 episodes. And then it pared down to 8 episodes. And then, like in some shows, like Obi-Wan, 6 episodes. And then there's shit like Witcher, like the Witcher Blood thing, which was like 4 episodes. There's some other things that are 4 episodes too. I think Castlevania may have been 4 episodes. But like, it's like, god damn, dude, like I'm paying, like I don't pay for 4 episodes worth of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so we rewatched The Office, right?
Yeah.
And first season is only 6 episodes. It was kind of like a tester season. But after that, 23 episodes, 20 season. And then we started watching Murder, She Wrote again, which, I always liked as a kid, and Aaron always really liked, so we thought Juniper would like it. So we started watching Murder, She Wrote.
Let me guess. She did not.
Oh, no, she likes it.
She likes it?
Oh, yeah, she likes Murder, She Wrote.
I didn't like Murder, She Wrote as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. Maybe I should rewatch it as an adult.
I don't know. It's one of those things where if you didn't like it as a kid, you probably wouldn't like it as an adult. Part of the reason I like it is because I liked it as a kid. And I remember it was one of those shows my grandma liked to watch. And I would always be like, and I'd watch it. Of course, I liked Angela Lansbury. She would always seem really nice.
I'm trying to remember the theme song. I feel like I have it in my head.
It's like, it's like,
it's like a piano thing, but I can't remember.
She's like typing. And the first episode does a really good job of setting up the entire season. I was like, it's a different type of television, but 23 episodes a season, dude. They really are just moving through it.
Just grinding through it, man. And
they were there to entertain your ass every week. They weren't fucking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was no absent. Depending on the show,
shot on film. Every episode, cut between fucking,
people were physically splicing film together and shit. And it was a bigger production. It was much harder to put that shit all together back then. Yeah. Because even if you had to communicate with motherfuckers, you weren't texting people.
No.
You had to you weren't emailing anyone. You had to call them up, and if they were there, great, awesome. If they weren't there, then did they have an assistant you could leave a message with, or an answering machine maybe? But who knows?
Dude.
Who knows? But now, if you need to contact somebody, you contact them right away. You're shooting, you don't have to worry about buying film. It's all digital now. Yeah. You can share, you can put it on the cloud. Everybody has access to
afterwards.
You can fix the lighting, in post to a dramatic degree. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for cutting down from 23 episodes to 10.
Yeah.
It should be double the episodes, if anything. It should be like a fucking 40 episode season.
Honestly, though, people couldn't write that many episodes.
That's the only thing.
I mean, they could barely write fucking 8 episodes of The Witcher. They fucking barely get that shit done. All the episodes blow. You know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather watch 10 episodes of something good than 23 episodes of something mediocre.
But it doesn't have to be mediocre, because a lot of those shows, Star Trek, there were a couple episodes.
You're right. Next Generation was generally they weren't all super bangers.
They weren't all but they were all entertaining. They were all pretty good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you just expected different things. I actually think, and you and I have talked about this ad nauseum, but I think we should start looking again at the episodic model for television. I think that the whole
long arc premium television where you have a long arc story from first episode. Yeah, I have a problem with that too. I'm watching X-Men 97 on Disney Plus, and the original X-Men cartoon in the 90s was kind of a hybrid. It was mostly episode by episode stories, but they kind of strung a little bit of a longer arc story in there. Yeah,
it makes the X-Files kind of did that.
Yeah, and this new one is premium television, where each episode is just a small sliver of the larger.
Yeah.
And it's okay, I understand, but it was kind of better when it was just the episode by episode thing. Like it really focuses your writing ability, because you can't lean on we'll this happens here, but then we explain it later, or we drag it out. It's like no. You've got 20 minutes to get from A to B to C and finish it up with a bow. Wrap it up with the bow. Make it compelling, make it action-packed or whatever. You have to have your twist. Like, do all of that in this constraint. And I think it focused people. It focused writing. It focused people's ability to write characters that had, a lot more depth, I think. Because
they had to show them in those little small snippets. They had to be those characters.
Because they couldn't rely on like lengthy dialogue, or anything like, oh, we're spending 5 minutes. Like there was a scene in one of the earlier episodes of X-Men that I remember thinking about it as I was watching it, because like I wasn't watching it with like a critical eye. I wasn't trying to like dissect it. Like it was X-Men. I haven't watched
letting it wash over.
Yeah, so I was like, God, this is awesome. It looks great. It's like watching, But as the scene was playing out, it was Jubilee and Sunspot talking at a club, and I noticed like they've been talking for a while. Like this scene is kind of like, I don't ever recall there being a scene in the earlier cartoon where two characters would talk back and forth for this amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's interesting. Like, I guess maybe because they're doing this as a long arc thing, they afford themselves more time for characters to just sit around and talk, in an episode. But is that necessarily a good thing, or is it? It kind of felt like, isn't there a way to like get the point across without relying on dialogue, like, hammering the point home? And it's not like it was being expositional. It was just like, okay, I get what you're doing, but, we're burning daylight here. I only got a couple more minutes of this episode. Let's go. Let's get this going. Like, so I feel like definitely episodic writing just really kind of forces people to, I guess, get, for lack of a better description, get better at writing.
I mean, that's the thing, too, is that I don't think it has to be either one way or the other. It's just like we don't get any really episodic TV except for like network TV. If you want to watch, and those shows are all dreadful. But it's not because they're episodic. It's just because the shows are dreadful. But like
some of them, I mean, I started watching Evil.
I don't watch that show, but I saw an episode of Tracker and it was terrible.
Oh, I didn't see Tracker. Tracker just I saw a commercial for Tracker and I was like, what is this, like Kmart Reacher? Like, what's happening here?
I think so,
like, okay, well, I'm not gonna watch that shit. But Evil isn't bad. I need to finish watching it, like, because I was intrigued by it, and I was like, you know what? I haven't watched a network television show in ages. I know that, despite the gray in my beard, I'm not the demographic for network television anymore. But I kind of want to see what it looks like now, because last time I actually watched network television, Jesus, what shows was I watching when I watched network television?
I watched Lost back in the day.
I didn't watch Lost. I didn't watch Heroes.
I didn't watch Heroes.
I mean, it must have been a long time ago when I actually watched... Did I watch X-Files? No, I didn't watch Bones. God, it must have been the 90s when I last really seriously watched network television. Because I didn't watch The Office either. Not until way later. At least.
The 90s had some great long shows that were quirky, like like Northern Exposure.
I remember Northern Exposure.
That was a great show. You know what I mean?
Those
kind of shows don't get made. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. So many shows are getting made, but the shows are just like weird little slices of life.
Outer Range on Amazon.
I've seen it. But
that's probably the closest to like.
That's definitely a long arc show, though.
It is a long arc show.
I want to me, like The Witcher. Why did they make The Witcher episodic?
Oh, we've got hours of videos on the YouTube channel ranting about that.
We really do. But I mean, that show was just screaming for it.
It was.
You know what I mean? And it's just like
because they wanted to be Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They wanted to.
I think Game of Thrones really. It's sad that it's like when something comes out and it's really good and makes a big impact, it kind of does a disservice to some degree because everything just spends a bunch of time trying to copy it. Even like like right now, like Aaron and I joke, like the title sequence to Shogun is basically not exactly Game of Thrones, but certainly in that Game of Thronesy, Westworldy, the piano, and then it gets bigger and the things, and then we're all zoomed into like a mechanical world.
And that's the interesting thing about, like, I thought that we had moved past those kinds of pretentious show intros, because a lot of shows now don't do that. They just go
like Fallout didn't even do an intro. Yeah,
it has an intro, but it just says Fallout, and then that's it. And like a lot of shows do that now. So like when I watched the first 4 episodes of Shogun, which is great, by the way.
Yeah, it is really good.
But I was really kind of surprised. I was like, wow, so we're still doing like the whole True Detective style artistic intro thing. Yeah. It's like interesting. I feel like that's a relic of the past, but
they just did it in True Detective.
Did we talk about Night Country?
We talked about it via text. We didn't talk about it in any kind of public forum.
Yeah, okay. Oh God, we have so much to catch up on. You know what? Let's what time is it? You gotta leave?
Yeah, I gotta take Juniper to school tomorrow. We do have to kind of wrap it.
You gotta come back then so we can finish talking about Shogun, True Detective Night Country, and who knows what else in between. But
yeah, because I will have probably finished Shogun by the time I come back. Right now, I'm really into it though. It's getting good.
Contact embarrassment is why I can't stand to watch things like The Office or Always Sunny, much to my husband's despair. I understand that.
Oh, I completely understand.
I understand that.
I have to leave the room when I'm watching The Office, but dude, I had to leave the show, The Curse.
You had to walk away from the entire show.
Yeah, dude, it is.
My grandmother used to watch Are You Being Served with me in the room, thinking I wouldn't get the jokes. That show was hilariously raunchy. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, neither have I.
Write 40 episodes. This is why we had a writer's strike. I'm not saying don't pay them appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying pay them all the money.
Pay them every single fucking penny they're worth, and then have them write 40 episodes.
Yeah.
I would do it. Absolutely. Hell yeah, I would write 40 episodes if they were going to pay me appropriately for it.
I don't know. 40's a lot.
40, I mean, but it's like a writer's room, so you could push that out, but it's a lot. It's a heavy load for sure. But guess what? Really? Guess what? It takes 2 fucking years for a season of television to come out right now anyways.
Yeah. I mean,
so
we were exaggerating, but like,
But even if I wasn't exaggerating,
23, I think, has been done before. It can be done again.
23 has been done at a time when it took way more to make a show.
Yes.
And it takes a lot less to make a show right now because most of the effects are CG.
Well, that shit takes time, but
it takes time, but
the shooting and the lighting and the telescene, all that stuff is almost instantaneous. You can shoot a scene and already be editing it by the time right after you shot it.
Yeah.
Versus like having to go to telescene and have dailies made, and then that goes to like the offline editors, and and it's like you got to spend so much time lighting because you're shooting film, and you got to expose it right, or it looks like a fucking nightmare. You know what I mean? It's you're right. They could be making way more episodes than they're making, and honestly, I would rather them make 6 23 episode shows, 4 of which that I really like. You know what I'm saying? Rather than 36 episode shows
that are all just kind of okay,
or maybe they're all great, but I can only watch 4. I've only got the bandwidth to watch 4 fucking shows. See, that's what the networks back in the day knew. They did the math on how much a person can literally watch, and they're like, honestly, we can have something for everybody here. Not everybody. This guy's gonna watch football. He's gonna watch this, and he's gonna watch that.
Time slots.
Yeah,
that's what the whole idea.
They thought a lot about it. You know what I mean? There was only so many hours in the day. I don't know when, and that's the thing. There's way more content. That's one of the reasons it leads to analysis paralysis. It's not that there's nothing to watch. It's just so much. It's like, well, this kind of looks cool, and this kind of looks cool, and then it just kind of pisses you off after a while. It's like,
well, the funny thing is, like,
kind of cool. Nothing looks amazing.
When the scheduling is put on us, it's hard for us to determine what we want to watch. But when it's scheduled for us, then all of a sudden you get stuff like I think it used to be Thursday nights was NBC's comedy night. And this was when all their comedies would be out. Wednesday was their dramas, and they would have their big dramas on Wednesday, and
although they had ER used to come on Thursdays after all the comedy shows.
Well, and they would always
come on at 9.
They would always do something like that. Like they would have comedies, and they would have something else to like, because it was programming. You know, it was very deliberate about.
They thought a lot about it.
Yeah, about okay, we're gonna have this, and then this is gonna lead into the nightly news, or it's gonna lead into Leno on the West Coast or whatever.
What's up, Diego?
Diego, welcome back to the stream.